You like that, don't you?
Dear students, we know that you miss your friends, being outside, and most of all, coming to school.
And we hope that you understand that everything happening right now is to keep you safe from harm.
You are our priority. You are the future. So even though this is a very tough time, we believe in you to be the leaders we know you can be.
To stay focused on doing your best work, even when no one is watching.
To be helpful and respectful to your parents and guardians at all times.
To be kind and thoughtful to everyone around you.
To always be thankful, even for the little things.
And most of all, to remember to keep in touch with us, because
we are here for you. Love your teachers.
A message from the East End: Edna Moyle, John Gray, Layman E. Scott, Red Bay, T.O. McCoy, West End, and the Lighthouse Schools.
Burger King has been your family restaurant for many years. Bringing you delicious food in a safe environment has always been our #1 priority. And until further notice, you'll only be able to visit us via drive-thru.
Get your motor running, pulling out past Red Bay, looking for a BK at whatever time of day. Burger King drive-thru.
Burger King's drive-thru is open at 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront Georgetown, Walkers Road, or Red Bay for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Roll back. Roll back.
Every Wednesday and Thursday, all Rubus stations are rolling back the price on all fuel purchases by 20 cents. Every customer will save 20 cents on every gallon of fuel purchased on Wednesday and Thursday. Every customer. Only at Rubus.
Roll back. Roll back.
Live from Star 927 Studios in the center of Cayman's capital city, Georgetown. This is Straight Talk with Ruth Anna.
Good evening, everybody. You are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young, always honored to be your host here on Straight Talk every Monday through Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here and nowhere else other than Star 92.7. It is 5:02 p.m. on the Star 92.7 clock, and it is the 20th of May. We are about 2/3 the way through this particular month. I can't believe it. Happy birthday to anyone celebrating birthdays today, and also happy anniversaries. I saw a few of those on Facebook. As always, I look forward to talking with you, talking for you, and I'm joined shortly in the virtual studio by Mr. Michael Miles of Inspire Cayman, who is going to, and our guest as well, Ms. Carol Bennett. Michael, as many of you may know, has talked about a course called Financial Peace for, I guess, nearly every time he's joined me in the studio in one way, shape, or form. And private donors have come out and contributed to allow persons to enroll in Financial Peace University through Inspire Cayman through their sponsorship. And so he's going to talk about what Financial Peace University is and how you can avail yourselves of the opportunity to have this beneficial education completely sponsored by someone else. We will talk about the dynamics of the course and how long and when, where, how, all the necessary details. And Ms. Carol, who has been through Financial Peace University, will share about how her experiences and how she has managed to pay off significant debt and how this has benefited her life and the life of her broader family. And so they'll be with me until 6 o'clock this evening. Definitely look forward to that conversation. 943-3700 is the line in studio. You can also WhatsApp me 324-1565, or you can email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. A shout out to Jamie Montero. Thank you for tuning in. I see you there on Facebook. But you guys know the deal. Before we go any further into our conversation here on Straight Talk, we always start our time together with the reading of today's Daily Bread. So today's Daily Bread is entitled The Smiling Jesus, and the scripture comes from Hebrew 1 verse 9 and reads, God has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of joy. If you were to play the part of Jesus in a movie, how would you approach the role? That was the challenge faced by Bruce, who played Jesus in the 1993 visual Bible movie Matthew. Knowing that millions of viewers would draw conclusions about Jesus based on his work, the weight of getting Christ right felt overwhelming. He fell to his knees in prayer and begged Jesus for for Jesus. Bruce gained insight from the first chapter of Hebrews, where the writer tells us how God the Father set the Son apart by anointing him with the oil of joy. This kind of joy is one of celebration, a gladness of connection to the Father expressed wholeheartedly. Such joy ruled in Jesus' heart throughout his life. As Hebrew 12:2 describes it, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Taking his cue from this scriptural expression, Bruce offered a uniquely joy filled portrayal of his Savior. As a result, he became known as the Smiling Jesus. We too can dare to fall to our knees and beg Jesus for Jesus. May he so fill us with his character that people around us see the expression of his love in us. Thanks be to God for that word today. As always, here on Straight Talk, we remind you, we encourage you to spend time each and every day focused on his word, meditating on his grace and how awesome he is. With that, I invite my two guests into our virtual studio, Mr. Michael Miles of Inspire Cayman and Miss Carol Bennett joining us. And neither of them are in the studio with me for the first time, so there is no Who Your Mama Is segment this afternoon. But Michael and Miss Carol, how are you both doing?
Good, thank you.
Welcome back, Miss Carol. I know you.
Thank you for having me.
You generally join me in different capacities, but
Right.
so excited that you are joining us for these conversations today. And as always, welcome back, Michael. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Always happy to have you back. And Michael and I have done a little bit of catching up during this time already. But Ms. Carol, how are you? How are you faring through?
I'm good. I'm working from home, and my daughter's doing school from home, and we're working as a family to take care of my dad, who's 75, to make sure he's able to stay at home, and the lady who takes care of him stays at home with him and not coming out. So we're working together to make that happen. So we're doing good. Thank you.
Awesome. Happy to have you back, and in a different discussion as well. So that's exciting. Get to have a new discussion with you. I'll start with you, Michael. To cut right to the chase, I know you have spoken over and over and over and over again about how Financial Peace University many years ago. I think it's been how many years since you and your wife took Financial Peace University?
About 11 years ago.
And so over a decade ago, how it completely changed the trajectory of your financial lives and ultimately lives of your children. And you've spoken on a couple of occasions about the fact that it is offered through Inspire Cayman. But this is I think a even more special conversation, because not only are we going to talk about the benefits of this education and this information, but the fact that private citizens or private donors have come together to allow other people in this community to be able to benefit from this education through their sponsorship. And so I first would like you to share what is Financial Peace University, and share the kind of the initial information about the sponsorship that's available.
The Financial Peace University is a 7-step. It's all, and Carol will tell you, it's all baby steps of becoming financially free of debt, living within your means, and doing a budget, right? Dave Ramsey is really the teacher behind the guru behind Financial Peace University. Dave created this course because he also went bankrupt. He was a real estate agent. He grew up in the business. His parents were real estate agents as well. And, just after he got out of college, he was cutting $1 million deals. But again, he was living on credit, and all of a sudden his credit notes were called, and him and his wife went bankrupt, contemplated suicide. Loads of things happened. They had family, they had bills, they lost their house, they lost everything. And then as he started to work himself back to normal, he found out that it wasn't just him that was living like this. It was, 3/4 of America was also living the same way. So he created this program and has perfected it. So well over 5 million people many of them Americans, have went through this course. I, like Carol, came up on the course because I filed bankruptcy at 34. A lot of it was a lot of things that I just wasn't doing right. I lost everything: house, cars, credit cards were gone. I couldn't get any loans. It messed up job opportunities. I mean, you name it, it happened to me as well. And I found Financial Peace University almost in error. I was getting remarried, and my wife was also, or at the time my fiance was also in debt, and I was in debt. And her mother felt that, something, you guys need to start off on the right foot. I've heard about this course. I never heard of Financial Peace University. And she paid for it for us to go at the church that we were attending while I was living in Louisville, Kentucky. And I remember walking through the door and feeling like anxiety, because, I'm like, for the first time I felt like I was walking into like a 12-step program, like I had to go in there and admit that I had done something dumb and ask for forgiveness. And, I remember when the facilitators who, were phenomenal in welcoming people, basically when that first video went on and Dave Ramsey came on and said, hey, you don't actually have to have a car loan. And like after that first video, man, I left there upset at myself. For the first time, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I could do better. Like I can absolutely do better. I mean, I was driving a Chrysler 300 that was valued at about $20,000, and I couldn't afford to put gas in it. I couldn't afford to change the tires on it. I couldn't afford the insurance in it, but I was driving a Chrysler 300. I was making good money, but I was spending a lot of money as well. And for the first time in a long time, like I became aggravated. I became upset. I became so distorted that I had put myself and my kids in a position where if at any time anything happened to them, I couldn't even afford $50. If my daughter said, Dad, hey, I'm going on a field trip, I need $50, I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford a small expense like that. I remember getting a speeding ticket in the US and I had to stop paying my light bill and my water bill to pay for that speeding ticket. I remember praying to God many weeks that a quart of a tank gas would last me 2 weeks until I got paid, right? So when I've coached a lot of people over the years about my experience and trying to help them get back on track. And when people say, you just don't know what I'm going through. And I say, oh, yes, I do. Like, I know what you've been through, right? I've been there. I've been there and I've been beaten with that book many, many times. But Financial Peace University is a guide. What I try to explain to people is that it's about behavior change. It's not about salary. It's not about how much you make in, right? It's about, because I've coached people that were making six figures. I've coached people that were making a lot of money and they were just squandering their money away. My issue has always been is, how bad do you want it? Like, I wanted it bad. When my wife and I came back to Cayman in 2010, the first thing we said is that we want to be debt free. I don't want to owe nobody. I don't want a mortgage right now. We both we didn't want a mortgage. We wanted security. She wanted more security, right? I wanted to make sure that she was secure, but I also wanted the stress to go away. Like, I went sleep with stress. I woke up with stress. I had money on my mind all the time. I was always trying to figure out, how do I get by? Like, how do I get out of this? And finally, man, I remember after 18 months paying our last bill, and I sat down and I said, God, if there's ever a God that I believe in at this point in time, I will never go back to where I am broke. That I will never go back to the point where I know that I can't afford X, Y, and Z. I'll never go back to that. And the one thing that I started to change is my daughter's perception of money. I started to coach them, especially my two oldest. We started to talk about money more. Like, my wife is an accountant by trade, right? And we started to say, listen, man, they need to understand money because we're not going to be a monetary for them. So a major part of what we also did, my oldest was also going off to school as well. and we worked hard in making sure that she understood budgeting, that she understood her finances. She got through college on a budget. Her entire university was paid for. I have a 20-year-old that's in college. She lives on a budget. She has a full scholarship. She lives on a budget. But the issues that I have always found with people is that they want their cake and eat it too, right? They want to get out of debt. The average person don't want to be in debt. It hurts. But then they don't want to make any sacrifices to get themselves out of that, right? They expect that someone is just going to knock on their door, give them $50,000 or $100,000 and get them out of debt. And that's just not how this works. It is all about behavior change. You know, like that's what this is about. It's about behavior change. And if you're not willing to change your behavior when it comes to money, you're always going to be broke or poor. I mean, that's just what it is.
And thank you for always being so transparent about that. Ms. Carol, I want to turn to you and get a snapshot of what was going on in your life and how you came at the time, because it's been a couple of years as well since you have taken Financial Peace University. But what was going on in your life, and how did, just kind of what made, what brought you to the point of taking Financial Peace University? And then we'll get into discussions about exactly some of the things that are covered through Financial Peace University. But what was going on in your life at that time?
Well, I was very disorganized with money. I did not know how to handle money or even where to start. Like Michael, I was making a salary. I'm a civil servant, so I was making a salary. I had my insurance paid for, everything. But I was just disorganized. I didn't plan ahead. If I felt like taking a vacation, I would, and just pray that it could go on the credit card and then try to pay it back when I came back. And, it wasn't a good situation. When Michael talks about that fear, there is such a fear, and I know everyone who is in debt and having to rob Peter to pay Paul or prioritize debt payment over this light bill. There is a feeling inside of all of us, and I wouldn't doubt it's the same feeling. And it's a tightness. It's a horrible, horrible feeling.
Yep.
And it's almost like something inside you is just gripping you.
Yep.
And that's what I went to sleep with. That's what I woke up with. I was married at the time, and my husband at the time did something with the house in the bank without my knowledge. And it was the home that I was paying the mortgage on and living in with my daughter. And, and that was such a red flag to me, that debt is no one's friend. I don't care who argues to me to say that debt is a good thing. Debt is a tool. There is no such thing as good debt. Because I allowed someone else to use my name at their discretion, and I paid the price for it. And found myself being a single mom and being way out of control, not being financially responsible or organized. And a friend of mine introduced me to Dave Ramsey. Michael started off with Financial Peace University, which is a course that he will be facilitating. I started off with Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover. And that's what changed my life, which is the same content, only in book form. And that's what I started off with. And
when was this?
This was 2015.
Okay, so 5 years. So in
a
short period of time.
And in 26 months, I paid off all my debt. Everything.
Do you mind sharing what that general figure was?
I paid off over $80,000 worth of debt.
I want to pause and just say congratulations, Miss Carol. That
is to be exact, I have it written down. It reminds me $81,890.12 in 26 months. Yeah, that was also with having my daughter in private school, being the only income earner in my household, as well as paying for a divorce. So it was everything at once. It was not easy because, like Michael said, it's a behavior change. Being financially prudent and financially responsible is only 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to be good at math to do this. You have to be good at yourself. You have to be good at being who you are to do this. And people might argue, Michael said that mostly Americans have done this, or a lot of Americans have done this. Yes, that's the audience he has because he is American, Dave Ramsey, but it works anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, because if you look at America, there's California and New York, which are just as high or higher income, standard of living than us, expenses and everything, and it works there.
Yeah.
It will work here too, and it does. Michael and I can prove that. He's married with children. I'm a single mom with a child. It worked for him. It's working for me. And just like Michael, I coach people who make six-figure incomes, and I also coach people who make $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
And it will work for anyone as long as they will change their behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to, so that was 5 years ago for you, Miss Carol. How now, 26 months you paid off 81,000. I don't know the figure quite as well as you, but somewhere just over $81,000.
Almost 82,000. $81,890.12.
There we go.
That's phenomenal.
In a 26-month period, just over 2 years. When you made that decision, looking at the figures and really digesting the debt that you had, did it seem impossible to you at the time?
I don't know. It was scary because one of the first things you have to do on this is make a list of all your debt.
Yep.
Because when you're doing your debt snowball, you have to have all your debt and list them from smallest to largest. So when I saw that figure, my mind was blown because I didn't realize that's where I was. And that was a very, very come to Jesus moment. And it was scary and it was everything else. But then when I learned to budget, when I learned to do Dave Ramsey's zero-based budget, which is an integral part of this process, and I budgeted ahead, I calculated my debt-free date to the very month. And that showed me that it is possible. Like I could do this because in 26 months, I would be debt-free. And so then it became real. I wasn't stumbling around. I wasn't, doing any of that kind of stuff. I had a plan. I just had my behavior then had to match my plan. And that's when it became real. But the beauty of Dave Ramsey's plan, it doesn't just stop at paying off debt because it is 7 steps and you keep going and you keep going to another level and another level and another level. So I will never stop budgeting. I will never stop using cash envelopes. I will never stop, all that kind of stuff because there's always more. There's always another level of peace that we can get to.
And I'm going to interject this there because I've already started to receive messages asking, how do I get this coaching? How do I sign up for the program? So for those who are tuned in and wanting to know this information right now, Michael, if you could, we'll share it a couple of times throughout the show as well, because I know people, are coming in and out of the stream, but if you could share, how people get in touch. I know that one thing that we want to highlight today is that how this discussion has come around for us again is some amazing private donors have stepped up to the plate through this time of crisis, which is leading many people into an instant state of, and I won't say because I don't think the financial crisis isn't as a result for the most part of what's happening right now. I think this magnifies it, right?
It does.
Prepared for these times, and so but people have stepped up to offer basically sponsored opportunities for people to access Financial Peace University through Inspire Cayman. So if you could share some of that information at this point, that would be great, because I know that I already have received messages from people.
Right. So I've gotten about 4 to 5 sponsorships. I've already filled 20 slots. I'm doing 4 groups of 10 currently. So I've already gotten 2 groups of 10. Phil, Caroline spoke today, so she's going to be helping with the other 2 groups as well. And that's the exciting part, because with Carol going through this, like, I don't need to convince another person of this. Carol is convincing enough, right? She's gone through it. She's benefited from it. Our job right now, I mean, we've been colleagues for years. So we want to help. And with these folks coming on board and just removing the barrier of people affording it, I've also reduced the price as well, because we're doing it online. So like, it's not like they're doing it in my center. there's no physical book, because the book is really what is the most expensive part of it. You know, by the time I get that book in Cayman, it's about $140, right? I'm buying it, it's about $120, and by the time I fly it in and customs duties and all of that. So we are now providing about 4 different classes. We got 2 filled. They can go to my website. It's inspirecaymantraining.com. They can go into forms, and the Financial Peace University form is on that. All they need, it's a fillable PDF form. They fill it out.
The link you sent earlier, right?
Yes, it's the link that I sent you earlier. It's the link that I sent you earlier, and they fill it out, and they email it back to me. I want to know what people want to accomplish. So on that form, it highlights what what are your goals? Like, what do you want out of this class? Because here's one of the biggest issues that happen. People get all excited when they start something, and then slowly they flame out, right? It's 9 weeks long. It's once a week for about 2 hours for 9 weeks. Dave Ramsey does the first hour of teaching. Carol and I facilitate the next probably 30 to 45 minutes. And a lot of that is goal setting. A lot of that is helping people with their budgets. It's helping people with their debt snowball. It's, you know, coaching people through some of the challenges that they may go in, right? So like, that's what the other 4 to 5 minutes is really about. It's helping people understand that this is not just a video that you pop in and watch. This is about changing behavior. Once they go on that, once they fill out that form comes to me, I contact them, and then I start to talk about what exactly they want. I haven't set any of the dates yet because I'm still getting in so many registration forms. So I'm looking at probably the first week in June that I'll start. I'll start to run a couple of classes as well. I was just speaking to Carl earlier on, and certainly yourself, because I'd like to do like a day class and an evening class. So people who are just kind of don't have anything to do during the day, you know, I'd like to do like a 1 to 3 class and then a 6 to 8 class. So at least people could kind of, you know, fill in those ends. Another class, there's the other 2 additional sponsorships that we got. We're going to be doing one for just single moms, right? Moms that really want to change their financial situation. They want to start to build wealth. They want to understand about insurance. They want to understand about their salaries. They want to understand about, you know, things like saving for college, right? Dave Ramsey goes through all of that. How do you save? How do you save for retirement? Like, we don't talk about that stuff. So we want one for the single moms. And then, you know, I was saying to Carol, one of the things that I really would like her help with is doing one for people under the age of 25 years old.
Yes.
Right? I don't want people to have to get in debt to find out that they don't really like debt, right? We don't teach it in high school. We don't teach it in college, right? I'd like to start having kids between 16 and 25 years old understand that they have some choices here, right? At the end of the day, if we can get people to avoid that, then, you know, we will have people building wealth. You know, Ruth, I was sharing with you earlier about a situation with my daughter, right? So Gabby was the first person that I kind of experimented on. My 2 oldest.
Yes.
When Gabby came out, throughout college, she was on a budget. When she got out of college, she had enough money to buy a car cash. So she came home, you know, she was living in my house. She had a job, you know, not really having, she was volunteering at Hope Academy where I was working. And then eventually we started paying her. But she wanted to make sure that, you know, her budget never stopped. You know, we set goals, like her and I were setting goals along the way. So first we set, before you move out, my wife and I helped her set a goal of, we need you to, you know, we need you to save $10,000, right? I mean, she had no bills. She didn't have a college loan or anything like that, right? I mean, she graduated debt free.
No chick
right?
to worry about.
Absolutely. Like, she was pretty good. So we've helped her set goals. My 20-year-old Haley is all, you know, like Haley's doing the exact same thing. She's in college. She has a full scholarship that pays all of her tuition, and she's working 2 part-time jobs, but she's also on a budget, right? So we want to help people before they get there, like before they start to feel like, well, you know, I need a BMW in order to, look good. I need to do like I need a credit card, or I need this, or I need that. This is all about, as Carol just said, it's about behavior change. It's about, a lot of it has been for me about making sure that you have an opportunity for delayed gratification. I tell people that all the time. I want the big house like everyone else, but can I afford it? No, it's going to change my lifestyle, and I don't want to change my lifestyle, right? Like, we live on one salary. I want to retire. I'd like to retire at 50.
Me too.
I don't want to work forever, right? I want to do my own thing, and I don't mean retire to sit in the house all day and watch TV. I want to go off and do my own thing. Like, I'm running a training center. I want to do that full time. So I decided that a long time ago, I need to put myself in a position to do that. So this course provides that. So we want to do two groups. We want to do one for moms, whether you're single or married. If you are a mom, give us a call, fill out the form. We want to help you out. We want to do one for folks between the ages of 16 and 25. And all of this have been donated. So you don't have to say, well, I don't have $50. Everybody have $50, but someone have paid it for you. What we want to do is make sure that you show up. This is not a class that you pop in one day and then we don't see you for 4 weeks. Like, that's not how this is, right? If we set the date, you have to come every single time that the class is scheduled, because that's how you learn it, right?
True. But I don't want to cut you, but we are coming up to our first break of our time together. I have some comments coming in via Facebook that I'll read when we get back. It is now 5:31 on the Star 92.7 clock. Michael and Miss Carol are going to be with me until 6 o'clock. So lots more time to offer commentary, get information. So we have a lot more to talk about. So on the radio, via video stream, keep it locked for some more Straight Talk, coming right back after this break.
The phone lines are now open. 943-3700. You can also find us on Facebook or email us at straighttalkci@gmail.com.
Don't let the actions of the few continue to impact the majority. If you know of someone who is taking unnecessary risks with social distancing and curfews, talk to them. Remind your siblings, children, parents, and friends of the importance of social distancing. We will all get through these challenging times, but only if we can all work together. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman.
Dear parents and guardians, we deeply care about our students and understand the challenges you may now face during these unprecedented times.
We want you to know that we are committed to ensuring that your child's education continues.
And that you are not alone. We are doing everything we can to make sure no child is left behind.
But to do so, we need your help to get connected and stay connected with you and your child. So reach out to us and speak with us
about how we can best support you and your needs. Working hand in hand with you is the only way to secure our children's future.
We are in this together.
A message from the Creek and Spot Bay, East End, Prospect, Red Bay, and Sir John A. Cumber schools.
In this time of crisis, we are right here to help keep the power on.
We are here to serve you. We are committed to ensuring that you have electricity. Without electricity, not many things will work.
We are right here to help keep the power turned on.
We are CUC. You can count on us.
Dear students, we know that you miss your friends, being outside, and most of all, coming to school.
And we hope that you understand that everything happening right now is to keep you safe from harm.
You are our priority. You are the future. So even though this is a tough time, we believe in you to be the leaders we know you can be.
To stay focused on doing your best work, even when no one is watching.
To be helpful and respectful to your parents and guardians at all times.
To be kind and thoughtful of everyone around you.
To always be thankful, even for the little things.
And most of all, to remember to keep in touch with us because
we are here for you.
Love your teachers.
A message from the Cyfec, Clifton Hunter, Creek and Spot Bay, Georgetown, Prospect, Savannah, and Sir John A. Cumber schools and Little Cayman Education Services.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Ruth Anna on Star 927.
We are back, folks, and you are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young, with you until 6 o'clock this evening, joined this afternoon by Mr. Michael Miles from Inspire Cayman and Miss Carol Bennett, who I've learned through the course. This discussion is one of the instructors. Is that what I'm understanding, Michael, from a previous
Not yet.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
Okay. So you're doing private coaching.
Absolutely. She's will hopefully come on board. So
I've done Financial Peace University, facilitated it, but was with a different agency. So we don't know where it will go with Michael, but hopefully it'll be an amazing partnership. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And to remind the listening public, 943-3700 is the line in studio. 324-1565 is the WhatsApp number, and straighttalkci@gmail.com. You can email me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I do have some comments coming in via Facebook that I want to read as they have come in over the last few moments. So my aunt, Jackie Ebanks, says, "So proud of you, Michael and Carol. This is great. I have done this class. This course is awesome. I am a good manager because of Dave Ramsey." Miss Louisa Bawden says, and this is from earlier, she says, "That is so true, 16 to 25, to what you were saying, Michael, about the desire to have a class specifically for young people, before essentially catch them before they get into debt." And she said, "This is awesome." Jackie also says, and I think she's saying Cayman needs this so bad right now, a big shift in finances. And Dean Coop saying, "That's my fam." So I don't know whether that's for you, Michael, or Miss Carol.
It must be Michael, because I don't know who that is.
So lots of love coming in from Dean. So thank you all for tuning in via Facebook. For those who are listening on the radio, we are streaming live video via the Star 92.7 Facebook page as well. Thank you to those who are tuned in. I do see Miss Louisa still there. My boy Johnny Joke is still tuned in. I have two aunts who have it locked in, my Aunt Jackie and my Aunt Chrisanne. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'm hoping that my Aunt Cleta actually may have the opportunity to tune in this afternoon, because I know that she took this course and I know that it transformed a lot of things for her. I do see a call coming in on the phone lines. Let me jump to the phone lines. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Hi, good afternoon.
I spoke you into existence. I honestly, you did good. I don't know if you heard me call your name, but that was good timing, actually.
Yes. The line just kept cutting in, cutting out. So I was, the radio station on my little radio on my phone, it kept dropping. So I was just waiting so some of the information I missed, but I got the bulk of what Ms. Bennett and Mr. Miles was saying. So I just want to concur with what they're saying. This course is absolutely amazing. And it is such an eye-opener. I took it in 2018. So of course I would have been recently. So of course I would have been like 51 at the time. So I know that, Mr. Miles was saying wanting to retire at 50 and that sort of thing. So I want to, what I want to inject in that is that, people like myself that have passed that 50 mark and look back and think that, well, it's too late for me to start. It's not. It's never, ever too late for you to start. Because like I said, I did it when I was 51. And I have learned so much at 51 and, being able to reorganize things in my life to be able to save based on this Financial Peace University course. And what I love about it is that you get a budget, an online budget, and you put every month, it calculates what you're spending in housing, what you're spending in childcare. If I need a babysitter, I would pay the minimum wage for a babysitter. I didn't have a full-time helper. because of course my daughter was in school, but when summer come, it helped me to be able to budget better because most of my money was going on child care.
Yep.
Then comes the mortgage, or mortgage and then child care, I should say. So it just really helps you to budget and see where your money is going. And one of the things that Mr. Dave Ramsey talked about is that every dollar should have a name.
Yep.
So at the end of the month, your budget should be a zero. And that took me a couple of seconds to understand what he was saying with that. But what it is that you calculate all of your expenses until your budget says zero. And what I love about the budget tool is that it will tell you, congratulations, you have a congratulations. I think it's you saved something or whatever. I can't remember the exact word that it uses, but then of course, if your expenses are more than your earnings, is say you're spending more than you earn. So you get that little message at the bottom once you put in all of your expenses, and then people have this. I don't know how to say it in the best way possible, but some people think that if you're on a budget, that, oh my goodness, like you're so living on edge, and that's so far from the truth.
Exactly.
You're living on a budget.
It makes you feel so free.
Say $3,000 a month, but you're budgeting where your funds are going.
Yep.
You're spending your money wisely. You're not just stopping, getting a coffee every morning, because when you add up. So when you add that up, it all adds up. What I like about it, the Financial Peace University also gives you this, like this little envelope, right? And you have and what you encourage you to pay cash on a lot of your stuff, so you feel that money. So, for example, if you make it $3,000 a month, you pay your expenses and whatever you need to pay out of it. And let's say that you're living within your budget, and you say I have $400 left. So you budget that, like say, okay, $100 could go for, say, entertaining for the month, and you put that in your little envelope where entertainment is, and you spend that on entertainment, whether it's going out to the movies, going for dinner, whatever. You spend $100 for the month, and once it's finished, it's finished. And then you do your budget again over the next month. But what I really, really love with it is also incorporating your children into it, because one of the things he said is that don't always tell your child, we can't afford that, because for me, that's not a positive, statement you want to be telling your children or telling yourself, I can't afford that. You really can't afford it right now because we have a budget. So what you're teaching your children is it's not in the budget. So if your child, let's say, I'm strongly against paying children for everything they do in the house. Okay, you empty garbage, I pay you $2. No. I think you help put the garbage in the garbage, so you should help take it out. I shouldn't have to help you. I shouldn't have to pay you for taking out your garbage.
Yep.
But then on the other hand, what I want to teach my child is, rather than always looking for money for a toy or whatever, they can help work for that money. So, okay, so what I do is I use my car, for example. The car takes us around. So what I do is I take my daughter, she's 10 years old at the time, now, but she was doing sometimes she was 8. So to get her pocket money, me and her wash the car. Now, use common sense with it. You don't take a child out in the middle of the day in the hot broiling sun. So what we would do is we would do it like in the evening or first thing in the morning. It works better for me and her in the evening. We'll go out and we'll wash the car together, and I will pay her $10 to help wash the car, and that's her pocket money. Now she does chores in the house and stuff. She's not going to get paid for every little thing she does. She must get paid. She's not going to grow up with that mindset. what I want her to grow up with a mindset is that she wants pocket money. She wants a toy. She's not going to stick her hand out every minute that she needs a toy. So she's going to help work for the money for the toy. So she gets a $10 and we do the car like every weekend or every 2 weeks sometimes. And then she keeps saving. Of that $10, then they'll teach you how you put it. You teach a child to save, like in bottles. On the bottles, they have like a name. So you have
sorry to interject right there. So once she makes the money, then you are then having her divide up the money based on some of these Dave Ramsey systems then.
Yeah, well, it's save, spend, and give, right? So you should have three piles of
their money.
Hold on, I think Miss Carol. Sorry,
for children, they teach you to do save, spend, and give. So whatever they get, they should save some, they should be allowed to spend some, and they should be asked to give some. So that's the habits that they want to develop. And Dave Ramsey's daughter, Rachel Cruz, actually does her things focus on children and money and the family and money. So he has a lot of different personalities that focus on different things, but his daughter, Rachel Cruz, focuses on children and money.
Okay, got it. And you could hear that, Aunt Cleta?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear. I have a problem with the radio station.
That's fine. So she was just Miss Carol was just highlighting how the Dave Ramsey system applies to children. But what I want to ask you before I move the conversation back to Michael and Miss Carol, and you alluded to it earlier, how when you first did the course, was it hard? Right? Was it difficult to adjust your behavior to implement this system?
No, it wasn't, because I was raised by parents who really always taught us not to be. My mother always said, wasteful ways bring woeful wants. So we were brought up in a very frugal way in terms of our spending. We were not wasteful. We got our needs, but not our wants. So I didn't have a problem with confining to what he was teaching. It just made me look at things at a different way, of how I could spend differently. Like, I had no idea of the amount of money I would spend each month on childcare. And when I looked at it and I said, wow, this is how much I'm spending on childcare, I was like, no, I can't do this. Hello, you're going to go YMCA, to camp. That'll be cheaper, because rather than paying somebody to come home. Yes, I love my child to lie down and sleep in the summer and that sort of thing. But then, it's at a point where you have to make a sacrifice until you get where you want to go. And then you can give your child those luxuries. So I didn't really have a problem confining to it. It made me smarter in terms of how to balance, the budget. Yeah. And then she's learned how to budget. So she has her 3 bottles, and we, like $10 would be like so much for tithe and offering, so much would be for saving, and so much would be for spending. So for example, if she wants a doll, the doll is, or a toy, the toy is $50. And the first thing she'll do is she'll look at the toy and she'll say, gee, this is so expensive. This is not in my budget. I said, yeah, it's not, but you can have it, but just not right now.
Yeah.
So what we would do then is we would do layaway.
What Michael is saying,
Yeah, we would do layaway with the store, and she would pay down. So each month she saves until she can afford that, So parents don't really have to feel guilty if they can't buy this for their child. They need to bring the child on board and show them this is what we have left. Out of the salary. And some people don't really want to go to child, say, okay, I paid this amount for mortgage, I paid this amount, whatever. You can even do it at the end of the day after you've paid all your expenses, and you can say, this is what we have left, and this is and then she knows that she's going to get $50 for the month because she's helped wash the car. Four times, like $40 for the month. Yeah, because she has washed the car, for 4 times, or if it's 2 times, whatever.
Awesome.
So that's how we've worked around it. But it's an awesome program. I would really encourage everybody to jump on board. It is the best. I paid $120 for mine. And when you look at the cost of it, it's just basically the cost of it. So people selling that program is not making no money per se off of that. Like when they pay for all the cost, clearing the stuff. So people are not getting rich off this program. So people just look at it of how they can benefit and how they can teach their children to budget.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care. Okay, goodbye.
And Johnny Doe coming in on Facebook and says, Michael mentioned earlier that classes will be held mornings and evenings. Is that to give us the option of which we can attend, or are the 2 classes morning and evening, both of which you need to attend? Trying to figure out how it works for new daily life working from home.
No, we just you would be allowed just to choose 1 class. So we're gonna start with 2 classes. So I'm gonna be doing the first 2 classes, and I'm gonna be giving, like, right now I have 20 people, right? So I want to make sure that people have a choice. They can do a morning or an evening class, right? So it's gonna be probably around 1 to 3, because I don't want to do a morning class right now because I know kids are still in school and parents are still supporting their kids while they're doing that. So it'll probably be like an evening session from 1 to 3. And then another group will be doing like a later evening session from 6 to 8. Okay. So it'll be right. So they'll be given an opportunity to choose one or the other, but it will not be 2 classes for the same person a day.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you for that, because he was. I think that hopefully, Johnny, I think that would have clarified the question that you wanted to ask. And Michael, you were pretty transparent from the onset, and have always been every time you've come on the show about the state of your finances when you found financial peace, and the fact that a lot of your behaviors stemmed from what we here deem as normal, right? Normal behavior. And you've, like, every time you talk about this, and I can see and hear the same passion coming across from Miss Carol, the passion that you both have about using this to help other people. I'd like you each to, because we have about 8 minutes left, and I want to make sure, Michael, you have time to reiterate how people can get in contact with you. But just to really impress upon people why you think it's so important, and why are you so passionate about sharing this information with the Caymanian community.
All right. So I as I was telling you today, there was a news article that was released last week by the Compass. It talked about Cayman's humanitarian effort. Right. I just want to give you some statistics on what drives me to drive this program a little bit further. In that article, basic article, right? This is COVID 101 at this point in time that we're going through. This is not, I'm not even going to touch on pre-COVID and what our country and our people are going through, but this is, COVID 101. Mm-hmm. Right now, the ARC is feeding 2,000 people. Mm-hmm. Then you have Meals on Wheels is feeding 450. Resilience have just come online. They've gotten over 5,000 registration forms. In addition to the one that ARC and Meals on Wheels is feeding, they have approved 1,000 application forms. 600 of those have gotten some level of aid. Then you have NAU, right? NAU is now up to 957 families being fed through NAU. That amounts to almost 4,000 people. And only Caymanians can apply to that aid. We've not had a major onslaught of expatriates applying to NAU. It's mainly for Caymanians. Then you have businesses that's doing this, right? So you have churches, you have the Kiwanis Club, you have Rotary Club, you have Feed Our Future, you have the Good Samaritan Food Pantry. I mean, that's a major organization now that's doing a lot of feeding. You have school PTAs, and then you have a lot of private citizens. You have thousands of Caymanians, based on 2 months of being off of work, can't feed themselves. And if that doesn't shock us, if if that doesn't stick a pin somewhere and for people to take notice, you have almost 8,000 Caymanians that can't afford 2 months, that don't have 2 months in a bank account somewhere to pay their bills, right? I went through that fear, right? I went through that anxiety of, oh my God, I have a flat tire. Now what? Like, I lived that for a very long time. It's terrifying, right? I don't ever want anybody to live like that. If I can help someone to not experience what I've experienced, dude, I'm there. I will do whatever I can in order to ensure that people don't live like that. Because they're not living. When you're waking, I'm always thinking about, well, what if this happened and what if that happened? I don't live like that anymore. Ruthann, for the last, I would say 10 years of my life, it's been peace.
Awesome.
You know?
And Miss Carol, I've asked you to give me 2 minutes, tops of kind of the same, your feelings about why are you so passionate about I've heard you say you kind of do private counseling plus through other agencies. Why have you been so passionate about sharing this information?
Exactly what Michael said about that anxiety and not living. That is, I'm an anxious person anyway. I try not to be, and I'm doing better, but I'm an already anxious person, and not having my finances in order made that even worse and even worse and even worse. And it was just such a horrible feeling, an absolutely horrible feeling when you sit down and you realize, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. I don't have enough money to send my child on a field trip, and all her other friends are going, and it's part of her school curriculum, and I just can't do it. It is such a horrible feeling. I realized now that back then I was just barely surviving. And there's so many of our Caymanian people just in survival mode. They're just trying to put one foot in front of the other, and then they're getting knocked back, and they're just barely keeping their head above water. That I know that feeling myself. I know it. And it is a horrible feeling. And I love my country, and I love my fellow Caymanians. I love my fellow people. And like Michael said, if there's anything I can do to help them understand that, one, there is a different way. Even in Cayman, there is no excuse that anyone could give me that would make me believe that they can't do what I did. There is none. Don't tell me you're a single mom. Don't tell me that you don't have a high enough paying job. Don't tell me that you can't find a second job. Let me tell you, I applied for a second job, and I walked in for what I thought was an interview, and the man had hired me before he met me, because people want to hire people. He didn't know me. And it was something completely out of my field. It was food delivery. I don't do food delivery. I don't know anything about that. So you can get a second job. You can get a third job. Don't give me any excuses. If you want to do this, you can do it. You can do it. And I want to help people understand that they can do it. And I know how to show them how they can do it, because Dave Ramsey has already set out the plan.
Yes, the plan
He's
is
already set
there.
the plan out. It's not a secret. There's nothing Michael and I have discovered, or Miss Cleta has discovered that's a secret. It's all over YouTube.
Absolutely.
It's all over Facebook. It's all over Instagram. He has his own website. He has a 3-hour daily show. He has books. He has personalities. He has everything. It's not a secret.
Correct. I'm happy that you said that, Carl, because we haven't discovered anything, right? I didn't make this plan. I didn't create Financial Peace University. All I did was just follow it. That's it. I just followed the plan.
And you can see similarities through all of us, because Miss Cleta said things that Michael and I have said, that Michael said, that I've said, and that's just 3 of us that know about this. Imagine if the entire community knew about this. You imagine what Cayman would be.
Oh gosh, and I think that is, that's what. Now, number one, I'm going to fill out my application, because I definitely, Michael's taught. I think it's critical. We're at a critical point. And I think that regardless of how full our plates are, it's about deciding there's a commitment worth making. Michael, if you could just quickly, we have 1 minute left, just remind everyone how to get in touch with you and to be able to enroll for this particular program.
www.inspirecaymantraining.com. It's under my forms drive, so they can go on the forms drive, Financial Peace University registration form. They click on that, it opens up, fill it out, and the email is right on it. But if for whatever reason they don't have the email, it's info@inspirecaymantraining.com. They email me the registration form, and from there I call them. And as of probably next week, I'll start looking at booking some classes for folks to start the program. But again, go on the website. info@inspirecaymantraining.com is my email. The website is www.inspirecaymantraining.com. So, this is pretty easy. It is sponsored. We have about 25 sponsorships at this point in time. So if people want in, this is a great time. It is $50. We're doing it online, so you don't even have to leave your house to do this. And, from there, I think that we can help a lot of folks. I just, as Carl rightfully said, this is not something that we have discovered. Like, I didn't make up this program. It's there already. So it's a program. They can go online and see it.
Awesome. Thank you both. A pleasure as always to have you both
Thank you.
in the studio.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
I look forward to a conversation maybe 10, 11, 12 weeks down the line where we can hear some of what people are shifting and experiencing as a result of this. But thank you guys. It's 6 o'clock on the dot, which means I am out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow at 5 p.m. sharp. I'll be joined again by Miss Teresa Pitcairn and Mr. Ezard Miller, who we are trying to finish up the conversation that we started last week. We got caught up on the pension aspect of discussion, but I had a few more things I wanted to discuss with them. So they'll be joining me again tomorrow right here on Straight Talk from 5 to 6 p.m. I'm out of here, guys. I love you. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you again tomorrow right here on Star 92.7.
Connect to the culture.
Right now, what we're doing is making